Hey everyone. Hi. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Alison. Rosen is your new best friend. This is a very special episode because I had a guest lined up, June Diane Raphael, and very excited to have her on the show. However, I got an email a little while ago saying she needed to reschedule. It was a very apologetic email, which, by the way, I appreciate. I appreciate the this might be messing up your, it didn't say this, but I feel the tone was acknowledging that this is sort of a last minute thing. And I totally understand this was unavoidable. So our guest today is someone that the Patreon people who already know, who I told about this, they are already very excited about this episode. And I think you guys will be as well. It is with our own bad boy of podcasting, Tony Thaxton, drummer for Motion City Soundtrack, producer, audio engineer extraordinaire, and someone that I enjoy talking with multiple times a week. Tony Thaxton, hello. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Please put your hands together for Tony Thaxton.
I can't let myself have all of that. I'm cutting it off. That feels too weird. I was going to not hit it, and then you said applause. I can't,
I know. We have also broken with format because I think normally I would chat with you at the time. I would check in with you. Then I would introduce the guest, and then I would bring you in. So this one, anything could happen.
Alison, Rosen, Alison's your new best friend.
You know what I do wonder is, because I feel like by the time when people listen to this, I feel like they usually will see the title of who is on. But I wonder if there are people that don't. If they somehow, I don't even know how you would do that. I guess if it auto played after a different show you listen to or something.
I think that's...
If you hear a show and you don't know who's going to be on, tweet us.
Yeah, at ariynbf. That's happened to me before, where I've been in the car and the next episode came on, and I was like, "Oh, who is this?" I feel like that's the only time that happens. Yeah. I also want to call something out, Tony. Get ready to have your ass roasted.
Oh boy, I'm glad to be here for this.
It's already an ass roastingly warm day in Los Angeles, by the way. So, I don't even know if it could get more roasty, toasty. But anyway. You've broken our streak because the last 2 weeks, our guest danced in such a beautiful, wonderful, they danced like no one was looking, even though we were looking. Leanne Kreischer and John Ross Bowie. Oh my God, the dance moves, the joy, the way their body just reverberated with the joie de vivre of being alive. And you didn't. And you called yourself out last week for the way that you pretend to be busy so you don't have to dance. And I was like, are you going to do it again? And boy, did you. You looked around. And now that how long can I talk without taking a break? We'll find out. Now that you have made me aware of it, I'm like, oh yeah, what presumably are you checking above the computer, to the right of the computer, to the left of the computer? And then turns out you had to take a sip of something very deliberately. I'm on to you.
I got to stay hydrated,
I mean, you do have to.
Yes. In all honesty, part of it, I was adjusting my volume for part of that.
That's fair.
Because the music started, I was like, oh, it's a little loud. I'm going to turn that down. So every now and then little things like that happen. But yeah, also just not a big dancer. I provide the beats, not dance to them.
I understand. It's sort of like how I don't like karaoke, and I claim it's because I've played in a band, but it's really more like because I just don't like fun. I'm not fun.
Yeah, see, we differ there. I can enjoy some karaoke sometimes.
What's your song?
About this? I haven't done it in a very long time, but I used to always my go-to was Sledgehammer for a while.
Ooh, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
I put on Total Eclipse of the Heart, the video for my kids. I don't know why. And Elliot was, have you seen that video recently, by the way? It is insane.
I don't think so.
I mean,
most of those videos from that time are wonderfully insane. Yeah.
It is like if the cover of a romance novel came to life, although I can't remember if there's a love interest, but I'm forgetting now, but I just feel like there's fabric blowing in the breeze and a lot of candles. And it is just insane. But Elliot was super into it. He's got
those.
He likes stuff like that.
I got very into this for a little while, and then the novelty of it wore off quickly because I learned quickly there was just kind of a playlist that just repeats itself. But are you aware of Pluto TV?
I've heard of it, but no.
It's really weird, but it's pretty cool actually, because it's a free app like that's on. I have it on my PlayStation. I think it's usually on Apple TV and stuff. It's totally free, and it's like having weird cable basically, because there's a bunch of different channels on it. Like there's an entire Three's Company channel. There's a Love Boat channel.
Is it all old stuff?
Most. I don't think everything is old, but most of it is, I think. But there are these Vivo channels. There's Vivo 70s, Vivo 80s, Vivo 90s. And the 80s one I got very addicted to several months ago. And I got Jimmy Pardo and Matt Belknap very into it for a while. But yeah, it's really fun because, you know, you can see all those videos online still, but there's something fun because it's like old school MTV, and there's something fun about not knowing what's coming next.
Yeah.
And then there's those videos too that maybe you just like, you wouldn't have thought to look up on your own. And you're like, oh wow, I forgot about this one.
I gotta check this out.
Highly recommend. But yeah, it'll get old after a couple days because you realize, oh, this is like a loop for, they do change it out every now and then, but it goes on for too long.
Yeah. This is, okay, the loop thing is the realization I've had, and we might have even talked about it on the show, about Christmas music. I love Christmas music. I love when it's Christmas time. I don't mind when I see decorations, you know, at the end of summer. I get excited about that actually. However, I realized there's just not very many Christmas songs. There's not enough. So it's like this, I only like a handful of them. And, I hear, you know, you hear 8 of them and then they repeat.
Yeah. And it's just somebody else doing the same song. Every now and then you'll hear someone do a fun take on something, but yeah, too many of them are the same. Yeah.
And there's many that I actually fast forward through.
Yeah.
Question. I know you have your guest hat on right now, but I need to ask, I need you to don your producer cap for a moment, or your engineer fedora. There is a gardener somewhere nearby and there's a buzzing. Are you hearing it?
I'm not hearing it.
I know, but is the mic hearing it?
I doubt it. And even if it does, it won't. I'll make it better.
Okay. I say we leave this in. Let the people see what it's really like between us behind the scenes.
These specific mics, there are always so many things that I think are going to be heard that are never heard.
Yeah.
Like Bentley will make all kinds of crazy noises when we're recording and I never hear them.
Right. So a few audiophile fans will say, what mics are they? And they are the Shure SM58s. And I have been tempted to upgrade to the SM7B. And someday I will. But I think if I were to have the AC and the fan going in the studio, I wouldn't be able to have them because they are more sensitive.
I'm a fan of these. I think this might even be an SM48 because there's 48s also, and I can't tell a difference between the two. They're just the 48 is cheaper, and I think these are best for podcasts personally because of that. They don't pick up a ton of background noise. It sounds good. I think too many people overspend on nicer gear.
They probably do.
Yeah.
I think if you're in a very controlled environment, maybe the more expensive mic is good. But given that I'm in a room in the backyard with a gardener nearby, this might be ideal. So listen, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. First of all, we got questions on Patreon, and there's some fun questions. We have some more serious stuff to get into because I need a Tony wellness check. And there was something else that I was about to go, but before all that, and then I completely lost the before all that. Oh boy.
I like that's the one you forget.
What'd you say?
I like that this is the one you forget. The one you were going to start with is the one to forget.
Sometimes I do that lately. I don't know what that is. Like, I will have 3 things and I'll decide to go backwards. And then by the time I get to number 1, it's gone.
Did you already know that you had forgotten it when you started the sentence and you were just hoping you'd start the sentence and it would come to you by the end, or did you forget mid-sentence?
I was in your and the listener's place in that I was surprised that I forgot it. Yeah, I have remembered it now, and I'm going to jot it down because I'm even going to put something in front of it. Okay, here we go. I'm writing it down. So anyway, I just wanted to share a fun little back and forth. So I'm on Patreon.
Oh, sorry. This is so different. I mean, what are you on?
I'm on Patreon. Patreon.com.
I had the board tucked away. Sorry.
Patreon.com/Alison Rosen. Just put up a new episode of The Friend Zone, which is the name of the bonus podcast, the bonus weekly podcast that you get. So you get Friend Zone, you get Zoom parties, you get a level where you can text me and I will text you back. You get the Thursday show videos. You get a new thing I'm doing called the backstory, which is where I go into the backstory of how I booked each guest and like my feelings throughout the interview and after and stuff like that. But two things about that. Again, I've already forgotten one of them. So I had told the people that I text with that I was excited that June Diane Raphael was coming on the show today, but it was going to be, she had a hard out. So I was going to have to like keep it tight. And then one of the listeners wrote back that I would have to really keep the chatting with Tone Zone about flies and bugs to a minimum. And I was thinking, no shit, I might just record that after even. But then when I let them know that she has to reschedule and it's just going to be Tony, she's like, now even more. Now you can just, talk with him about flies the whole time. And now when she had said you got to keep it to a minimum, I don't know if that was wishful thinking. Like I'm telling you what we all want, which is, and I'm not saying she wanted the talk with you to a minimum because everyone wants more talk with you. I'm saying the talk about flies.
Oh, of course. Yeah. We've got an upgrade now on today's episode, right?
This is, yes. That came out wrong. Everyone wants more Tony talk. No, I think everyone wants less fly talk.
Right. I mean, I think, yeah.
It's not up to me. I'm merely a vessel for the status of insects in my home. Yeah. Again, I must remind everyone, it's a pretty like nice, neat, modern home. I know it sounds like a hovel that's like festering with bugs. That's just the way I like to portray it on the show.
But whose house doesn't have some bugs every now and then?
I think everyone's house has some bugs, but I feel like I have more than seems right, Tony.
It happens.
Yeah. And then the other thing, oh yeah. So the most recent Friend Zone, we answer listener questions. And a listener wanted to know about my experience with endometriosis and how I was diagnosed and stuff like that. So I had been putting that one off for a little while because it's sort of a big topic, but I had promised them that I would get into it on the next episode. So I detailed that and I put it up and I mentioned on Instagram that this episode is about that. And I kind of made a self-deprecating joke about how, I know how to sell it, don't I? Because in the description, I say I go into so much detail that you'll wish I had talked about it less. But I was thinking to myself, I bet this will be one of those weird ones where even though I don't think this is a particularly strong episode, I bet I'll get a lot of new Patreon people because I think that people like hearing medical stories like Grey's Anatomy and all these, there's a lot of people who are fans of like medical drama. Mm-hmm. It turns out I was wrong. No one wants to hear. I mean,
you can't have that thought ahead. Even though you thought like, oh, people won't, but you're like, but then you went, oh, maybe they will,
right?
And so that ruined it.
Maybe that's why. Maybe I jinxed myself, or maybe truly no one wants to hear about it. I mean, I don't know. Daniel was like, "Why are you making me listen to this again?" We'll see. It's a little too early to call it, but it might be. I think it's got a real target audience of people who might also be dealing with stuff like that. I mean, we'll see. Anyway.
I mean, you're really selling it. So It sounds like they're going to be fools to not sign up.
Look, if you have endometriosis, know someone with endometriosis, or have, potentially have a cyst on your ovary, you'd be a fool not to sign up for my Patreon. Usually there's hot gossip. This one just has hot gossip about ovaries, egg supply, IVF, that kind of stuff. Listen, Tony, what I wanted to talk to you about was your Kids Incorporated episode of your hit podcast, Bizarre Albums.
Mm-hmm.
Did you mention Ryan Lambert? I don't think you did. And I had a young girlhood brief crush on him. I think I once even saw him at Knott's Berry Farm. And I just want to know why. Why no Ryan Lambert talk?
Well, first of all, I don't remember him, but that's not why.
He's the hot guy, the hunk.
Oh, the hunk. I should have been all over it.
Yeah.
Well, because this record was in the very early, I think it was released during or shortly after the first season. And, there were a lot of kids that kind of came and went from that show. So I was kind of focusing on the early days of the show. So he must have come in later.
Okay, fine. I mean, that's not my memory of it, but that does make more sense than my memory of it, which was just
I'm sorry. But hey, I'm following my own rules here.
I understand. I don't like it, but I understand. Okay.
I don't know what you have against Martika and Fergie, but
I love them. Toy Soldiers.
Toy Soldiers. That song is pretty fantastic.
It's
good. A catchy song.
It is really good.
I hadn't heard it in a long time until revisiting it for that episode, and yeah. It's a catchy song.
If I were to listen to it, I would want to listen to it on my Raycon wireless earbuds because I would need to listen to it over and over and over again. And the charge time is incredible on those. And also I would want to hear all the nuances of it. So I'd want some wireless earbuds with really good sound quality, hence Raycon. But I think I told you what I've actually been using my Raycons to listen to is Heart. I was in a Bo Burnham hole, a bow hole, and now I'm in a heart hole. Although I thought to myself, it's nuts. I was listening to Bo Burnham nonstop, and now I'm not listening at all. It's weird how that just went away, but then it came back. So I'm also listening to him again. I can't quit him, and there's no need to really. Look, there's nothing better than listening to my favorite music after a stressful day. Thanks to my Raycon wireless earbuds, not only can I listen to my favorite music, but I can listen to it with clarity. Sometimes you just need some upbeat music to pump you up before you see people or to stay calm with some guided meditation. Raycon are the best way to listen. They come with a bunch of gel tips for your comfort. That's the best because you can customize it to your ears. And unlike some other brands, they don't stick out of your ears. Raycons have a 32-hour battery life, so you can listen to what you want when you want for a really long time. They start at half the price of other premium audio brands, but they sound just as good. And they come with a 45-day happiness guarantee, so you really can't lose. Give them a try. You'll see what I mean. Create your own soundtrack with Raycon. Right now, Alison, Rosen is your new best friend listeners can get 15% off their Raycon order at buyraycon.com/bestfriend. That's buyraycon.com/bestfriend to save 15% on Raycons. Buyraycon.com/bestfriend. I also want to tell you guys about the Ring alarm system. Protect your home with the Ring alarm. For a special offer, go to ring.com/bestfriend. It's the perfect way to start your Ring experience. We have a Ring doorbell. I cannot imagine I can't imagine life without it. It's so convenient. Everyone I know has one, and we now have the Ring alarm, and it installs. You do it yourself. It's super easy. It works seamlessly with the other Ring products. I think I mentioned when we first moved into this house, Daniel wanted to get an alarm system, and we shopped around a bit. I didn't know yet of the Ring alarm. And so we shopped around at these, different services where they have to send someone out. It's just I had misgivings, and I kind of polled people. And I heard stories that didn't make me excited about each of the companies. And then this guy I know, I'll be specific. The guy I go to for hair straightening told me that he had gotten a Ring alarm. And I know him to be someone who researches everything. And he told me about it and that he set it up himself. And that was so appealing to me. We got it. We set it up. It's really easy to set up. And then when we went on vacation, again, this is a couple of years ago, we went on vacation and it was so nice knowing that our home was protected. It's really great. It's peace of mind. It's powerful, affordable. You can install it yourself. It works seamlessly with other Ring products to protect every corner of your home, inside and out. Best of all, it works together in one simple app. Protect your home anytime from anywhere with the Ring alarm. Go to ring.com/bestfriend for a special offer on our Ring alarm security kit today. You can build the system that's right for your home and have it up and running in minutes. That's ring.com/bestfriend. That's ring.com/bestfriend. Okay. And we're back. So Tony, how have you been?
Oh boy, it has been, and regular listeners know it's been quite a, I almost coming up on 2 years now for me. It's been pretty rough. It's kind of felt like one thing after another for way too long now. And, I always have the okay, or things are going to start looking up now. And then every time it seems like they are, something else happens. I'm trying, if we had done this episode 2 weeks ago, I think, it would have been, even more pathetic, sad answer. But I've really been trying to push myself these last couple of weeks to just be out more safely, of course.
Yeah.
But seeing friends and also I've been playing drums a lot more and having some rehearsals for some shows coming up. And all of that, I'm really really realizing how much that actually does for me, how much it really helps. So that has been very, very, very helpful. And I need to remind myself more how much that stuff actually helps me.
Yes. Yeah, I know. I feel bad that because you and I were both so excited to be doing in-persons again.
Yeah.
I feel bad that we're not again. Although I feel like there's, a whole bunch of reasons why. Well, there's one reason why.
I
COVID.
yeah. But I mean, specifically, you have kids. And
yes, I have unvaccinated kids.
I understand that. Yeah. But yeah, that was, and I'll admit, and again, I totally understand why. But yeah, that was a bummer. I don't know if I said this on the show or not, but literally that first in-person recording we had, just driving to your house that day was the best I'd felt in a year and a half.
Oh,
because I was just I felt as silly as this sounds, I kind of felt like I had a purpose.
I know what you mean.
I just sure, I leave home every now and then, but it's usually just to go to the store or to see somebody. But this was to actually go somewhere to do a job and to do work that I enjoy. So I've truly missed the in-person stuff so much. And I get really, I know this is also a silly sentence to say, but I get really, I've been experiencing a lot of pandemic anger toward the pandemic, because even though, so a few months before the pandemic is when my divorce started. And even though that was really a painful thing, I did quickly know, even with how much it hurt, that it was truly for the best, though. I really did realize that quickly. And weirdly, everything else in my life, the work side of life and everything, was going really well at that time. And so even though I was going through this really painful thing, I was weirdly kind of excited about the future. And then, and then I got to go, on tour again for the first time in 3.5 years. And that went beyond anybody's expectations. And then, I came home and a month later, the world shut down and because I really felt like I had momentum, and it just feels like all of that momentum just got kicked in the nuts and it's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's really tough. I get that anger. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, a friend who does not have kids, and I was we were kind of comparing notes about like, how are you living right now? And he is sort of more like you, where he is wearing a mask, but he's going out and like pretty much, you know, back to being out and among people, as long as it's not crowded. And he talked about visiting a relative of his who has been basically shut in her apartment for 1.5 years. She is vaccinated, but she's scared. And just the mental health toll that takes. Yeah. That like he feels like we're not talking about that enough. That being said, I feel like there's plenty of articles about it. I don't have the bandwidth to read them. Like I have no. Yeah. As much as I like talking about it, I have no ability to sit down and read an article about like, here's the effect of what we're all going through. I don't know why. Maybe because it feels like we're still in the middle of it.
I'm kind of with you there. And that's been one of the other kind of changes, I think, in these last 2 weeks that I've made is I'm honestly really not even paying attention to the news all that much. I mean, a little here and there. And I don't know. I'm just sort of taking the attitude of if I really need to know something, I'm going to find out.
Yes, this is
maybe
true.
That's stupid, but that's how I feel. And I truly believe that. And just, I don't know, if I start going down those wormholes, it doesn't do me any good.
Yeah.
So
no, I get it.
Avoid it.
So you've been angry lately. Have you been depressed?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Big time. Because it's just been, you know, again, going from being married to suddenly not being married. And then, so suddenly I live alone, and I'm fairly good with alone time usually, but you know, this has been a very extreme case. Yeah. So that's too much. And, you know, shortly after the divorce, like I said, went on that tour. I was surrounded by, you know, my friends and bandmates and, every night, and then, you know, play to a couple thousand people, and like, it was great. And then I got home, and, you know, I was exhausted and excited to get home, even though it was a great time, but I'm like, all right, go home. And it was seriously like, it was almost like the second I opened my door, it was like, oh, right. Things are very different now. Yeah. And then little did I know, in another month, they'd be very different.
How you said that pretty quickly, you realized the divorce was the right thing. What was the timing of that, would you say? Because I'm just thinking for anyone who's listening, going through that right now, that's probably pretty hopeful for them to hear that.
Honestly, like, I'm not going to say immediate, but like pretty close to immediate. And I'm not saying that that's not anything toward her. Like It's no ill feelings toward her or anything like that. It's just truly one of those things that it wasn't working. And I don't think either one of us were very happy. And so, yeah, it just, you know, it again, while it being painful, like quickly you start, you know, you kind of start thinking about all these different memories or just overall how you feel. And then, you just kind of start thinking of all that, and they start piling up. And then I was very quickly like, okay, yeah, this is for the best, I think. Yeah.
And I know you were happy that you didn't have to move. You're able to stay right so this, like where I'm talking to you, this is where you lived when you were married.
Yeah.
Was that hard though? I feel like I might have asked you that because I'm always interested in this aspect of it. Was it filled with memories at the beginning?
I mean, some here and there, but like, I have thought about that, like, especially like when things were getting like extra depressing. I was like, should I have stayed here? Like, should I have like just gotten like a completely fresh start? But I truly think it's mostly been fine. Like, you know, of course there are little things that are going to make you think of whatever, but overall, I think it's been okay, because I really do like this place, and I feel like I don't know. I like everything about. I like the location. I like the fact I have a little fenced-in yard, and I have a spare bedroom if anybody comes to town, which obviously that hasn't really happened much, but yeah, just things about it. I'm like, I really do like this place. So, and that was why I wanted to stay here, because she immediately, planned on moving out. So I was just like, yeah, I'm going to see if I can figure out how to make this work for just me.
When it was the two of you, what did you use the spare bedroom for?
It was kind of just like it was still a spare bedroom, but also kind of like a office slash, I wouldn't go so far as to say studio, but we would both like record music in there and stuff. Yeah.
Right. So when you quit the band, right?
In 2013, I did, yes.
You quit. Did you, I imagine at the time you thought, this is it, like I'll never come back to this band, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if I necessarily, was saying never, but that's definitely what I was leaning toward. Because that was another time that in my life that had just I was severely depressed. I want to say the most I ever was, and then this last year and a half happened, so probably not true anymore. But yeah, I was just even though that was the thing I'd always wanted to do with my life, and I never imagined I would get to do that for a living, it just hit a point where I was just like, I was really having a hard time. And yeah, I didn't know what I was going to do next, but I knew I needed to stop for a little bit. Yeah.
So then how did it happen that you came back to the band?
So in 2016, like right at the beginning of the year, I think, our bass player, Matt, who is also my best friend, called me and was kind of just giving me an update of, he's like, I just want to let you know, we are going to do some tours this year, and that's going to be it. We're going to call it. And
had you kept in touch with him the whole time?
Yes, because I'm coming up on next year. He and I will have known each other for 30 years.
Oh,
which
wow.
Makes me feel ancient. But so yeah, so he was kind of just like, FYI kind of thing, because that was a huge part of my life for a long time. And when he told me that, at that point, I felt like I was in a much better place mentally and everything. And so pretty quickly, my response was, well, I would play those shows if you guys were interested in that. And that really caught him off guard. Apparently, he said he was not expecting me to say that at all. And he said he was going to talk to the rest of the guys right away, and he did. And I feel like it all happened like very fast then. It was admittedly, that was also a tricky situation because Claudio Rivera is the guy who replaced me, and he was actually my old drum tech. And he's a phenomenal drummer, and he'd been working for us for a long time, and he's one of those guys, like I always felt weird that he was my drum tech because he's so good.
Had he been in a lot of bands too?
Yeah, he had. He was playing with the band Saves the Day.
Oh yeah.
And then when I left Motion City, he ended up leaving Saves the Day and went to Motion City. So it was a weird thing, and he's a friend too, so it was kind of a weird thing to kind of
take the job from him.
Yeah. And it was I felt pretty shitty about that, but I think we were all just sort of like on the same page though, of like, I played on 5 of the albums, he played on 1. And again, I'm not saying that like to discredit him. It's just, there's a lot more history there. And these were going to be these like farewell shows we were going to do. And I think that was, since I was willing to do it, I think we all just sort of felt like this is the way that these should be.
Was he upset?
Yeah, at first, he was. As time went on though, I think he started, accepting it a little more. And he actually ended up being at what was our last show in Chicago, and played a few of the songs that night. So I was glad that even by the time the final show happened, that he had, kind of understood everything and was willing to come. And I'm glad that he got to be a part of that night.
Yeah.
Also.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, so then what happened? So you did the farewell tour.
Yeah. So we did that. And then, I think that, you mean just as far as like doing another tour again?
Well, yeah, because you guys pulled is it Black Sabbath or Ozzy Osbourne who keeps announcing their farewell?
I think, Kiss I'd done about 100 of those, I think, too.
It's smart. This podcast is going away after this episode, everyone. So re-up.
Yes. It was just, I think at the time when they decided to break up, I think that was because I think everyone was maybe not like super depressed like I was when I left, but I think everyone was kind of just moving in different directions with life, and 3 of the guys are married with kids now and stuff, and so I think they were just like kind of feeling burned out because we were doing it like pretty like constantly for over a decade. So I think everyone just kind of got away from it for a bit and we're kind of living normal lives. And then, 3-something years passed, and I think a conversation just kind of happened, and I think everybody was again, like it had enough time away from it to think about it and be like, that sounds fun. It sounded fun again to everybody instead of just feeling like, well, we're going on another tour. And what really helped, I think, too, was having the attitude of, we're going to do this tour and then that's it. And, we'll probably do some other stuff here and there, but it's not going to be like, we're going to go on this tour, come home for a week and then go right back out again, and then go home for a week, come right back out. That's how it used to be. And nobody wants to do that anymore. So just this like, kind of like, we'll just kind of sometimes and see what happens kind of mentality now.
And are you guys writing new music?
No, we have not done that. I don't know. It's I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but I'm also not going to say it is going to happen. It's been, thrown out there, but it hasn't really, I think especially with the world in the last year and a half, I think that kind of definitely put even more of a end to that possibility. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
So we missed you on a recent episode where Jeff filled in. Do you want to talk about what happened?
Yeah. So I think just like a couple of hours before we were supposed to record, I had gotten the news that Brian Cain, who the brother of our guitarist Josh Cain, had died. And I liked Brian a lot. I'm not going to claim in any way that we were like super close or anything like that, but I liked him, and he's been a huge part of my life really for like almost 20 years now. Because I've spent so much time in Minneapolis, where he lived, and he was, always around. It would be at all of our shows and would always help us out a lot. If we just needed somebody to help with something, like I feel like there were times he like drove our van like across the country or something for us. And he actually is the person that came up with our band name. He came up with the name of our first album. We shot our first video at his house. And so like a pretty big part of the history of the band, even, aside from just being Josh's brother. Because I mean, we all know all of each other's families and siblings. And so, it was obviously awful. And I feel so terribly for the whole family. And it was a rough day. And I think that combined with everything else that had been going on again over these last almost 2 years now, everything was it's just all been like stacking up on top of each other. It's felt like for me. And I was feeling pretty down to begin with. And then just getting that news was pretty.
What happened to him?
Crushing. He had fallen off of a ladder and suffered severe head trauma. And he hung on for, I think, about a week, I believe. And then he passed then.
Oh, God. I'm so sorry, Tony. And I'm so sorry for everyone who knew him. Did he have a family?
Yeah, he has 2 kids that are, they're both adults now. But yeah, he has 2 kids.
Was he your guitarist's older brother?
Yeah. And so he's understandably very crushed.
Yeah.
He really looked up to him a lot and kind of feels like he's the person who kind of like got him super into music. And I think he even said he bought him his first guitar and stuff like that.
So awful. It's crazy right now. I think when we all come out of this, which hopefully we will, it's like we will look back and there has been so many losses that there hasn't really been time to like grieve each one. Like so many, I know that, it wasn't COVID in this situation, but every day you hear of more and more people who are dying of COVID. And everyone now has a story of someone who was close to them who died. And it's just, but each life is like someone who affected a whole bunch of people, who was loved, who needs to be grieved. And it's sort of like a war where like there's not time to process, to deal with it. It's just a fact of that moment in history, and it's awful.
Yeah. I've lost 4 people in this last year and a half.
Tony, it's so hard.
Yeah.
So, Brian, your friend, the producer, right?
Yes. Our friend Ed Ackerson was kind of was the first one to go. He died of pancreatic cancer. Another producer, who, and also kind of just one of my like musical heroes, Adam Schlesinger.
Oh yeah.
Who did die of COVID. And then,
Neil,
my friend, who was the person I was the closest with, if anybody, Neil Mahoney, who a lot of our friends that have done this show were very close with. That was and still is, the hardest one, to cope with. Just a great guy.
Yeah.
And
it was neat to see how many people knew Neil from, Instagram was just nonstop Neil and people sharing their tributes of him. We have Patreon questions, but I do want to ask, so you said that Brian had come up with the name Motion City Soundtrack. What's the story behind the name?
Yeah, that is a story that or a question that gets asked a lot, and I wish it was more interesting. So I'm going to warn you of that up top. But really,
this is like a me story.
This is how it's been told, and I've even tried to get a little more information, and like no one seems to remember or even know more. Literally, all it was he wanted at some point he wanted to open a shop, some kind of store, and that was what he wanted to call it. And he never ended up doing this. And so I guess when the band kind of started going and they needed a name, Josh was just like, I like that name. He's like, you're not actually doing it, so can we take that? Yeah.
I love that it was just any old shop though.
Yeah, well, that's what I don't. I mean, I'm sure he had an intention,
right?
But I don't know what that was. And again, I have asked Josh. And he's like, I don't. I think he just doesn't remember or something. Yeah,
interesting. Well, it's a very evocative name.
Thanks. Yeah, that was actually like a thing when I joined the band. I was like, I feel like it's a good name. Like, yeah, that way I felt all right saying the band name to people.
Yeah. It's no butt trumpet.
Or Diarrhea Planet.
I didn't know there's a band called Diarrhea Planet.
Oh yeah, they don't. They broke up now. They didn't make it with a name.
No. It's sad. Let's take some questions from our fans.
All right.
Questions from our fans.
All right. Dan Stark says, "Do you even own a robe?" I feel
No,
we've covered
We've been over this.
Hence Tony No Robe. Okay, Tammy H says, "I was reading the book Electric Arches by Eve Ewing, and she mentions your band Motion City Soundtrack in one of her poems. Are you aware of being a muse? Thank you for all the fun and support you provide for Alison's podcast."
Not in this circumstance. I'm not. This is news to me. I have not heard this. Yeah, that's news. I did know there have been a few times we had been mentioned before. The big one was we're actually thanked as being an inspiration in I think it's Breaking Dawn, one of the Twilight books.
Who knew? Stephanie Myers, is that her name?
Yeah,
is
Stephanie
a fan.
Meyer. Yeah, that was and that was like before any of the movies had come out, or there was still, like then the book was just the book, and I remember getting word of that, and at the time I didn't know what it was.
Yeah,
and now it's huge. So I knew of that one, but not of this poem.
Yeah, we have to go look it up. What if it's like? Oh, I was trying to come up with some. I can't do it off the top of my head. I'm trying to come up with some like dumb poem that's like shitting on your band or something, but I can't do it in rhyme. Okay, I'm sure it sounds as if it's definitely not that. Okay, Amy Freehill says, "Curious to know, how did Tony and Jackie know each other before the podcast? I seem to remember they were friends before joining ARYYNBF."
Yes. Well, technically, I know Jackie through her ex-husband. He was actually, which is also how I know Betsy.
Oh.
So yeah, they're in the same, her ex-husband and Betsy were in the same improv group, and I had done the show a few times, like telling stories, and then they would do improv based on the stories.
Was that Bangarang?
Yes.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I had just met Jackie through that, and just, became friendly with the both of them. And, yeah, that's it.
I started following him. So when I first met Jackie and had her on the show, they were still together, and they were talking about how like a game they have is determining what things are chooches. Did you ever hear them do this? Like,
this sounds familiar,
yeah.
But
like a button mushroom is a chooch or something, but this isn't a chooch. And so I was following both of them. And then at a certain point, I'm like, wait, why is he decorating a new apartment? What is going on?
I had the same thought.
Yeah.
Because I think that was like maybe like 6 months before my divorce, I think. Mm-hmm. But I can remember my ex-wife and I talking, like we were like similar kind of thing where we would like see things on Instagram. We're like, have you noticed like they're like never with each other and just things. And yeah, so we didn't have any idea for quite a while.
Right. Okay. Christina Duty says, also, how is he doing mental health wise? I really appreciated his openness as someone who gets and experiences the struggle. Listen to the previous half an hour.
Rewind 30 minutes or something. Yeah, I was trying to think if there's anything really I can add to that, but yeah, not great, but really, really trying to push myself to work on that.
Do you feel like therapy is helping you? I know that I don't know if it was a Patreon episode or Did I do a Monday show with you a while ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know if it was on that.
Shortly after I became officially
right.
the producer, yeah.
But I think you talked about feeling at one point like therapy wasn't helping you that much, right?
I think for a long time I wasn't sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was going a lot, and I know everybody like says how great it is, but I was going and I was like, am I getting anything out of this? I don't know. And I liked the therapist that I had, and then there was a point when she had like changed her prices or something, and then I was like, and I wasn't doing great financially at that moment. I was like, okay, I have to stop coming to this. Fast forward, I then ended up getting a new therapist with the insurance I had, and had a few sessions with her, and very quickly realized I did not like this woman.
Mm-hmm.
She meant well. It wasn't I didn't like her, but it just wasn't the
right fit.
Yes. And then I wasn't sure what to do next. And then that was kind of when the divorce started. And shortly before the divorce, we had started doing couples counseling. And I actually really liked the woman that we were doing that with. And when we were kind of done with that, she had said if either one of us wanted to see her individually, that we could do that. And so I said I would. And yeah, I don't think I did initially. I think when I got home from tour, and then everything went to hell again, then I reached out to her, and I've been seeing her for a while now. And she is the first person that I've been doing therapy with that I have really felt like I truly am like getting something out of.
Oh, good.
And like had, you know, you hear people, I don't know if I'm going to go so far as to say breakthroughs, but you know, you hear people talk about those things, but I've definitely had several moments in the last year and a half or something of like, oh yeah, okay. I never thought about that or never realized that. So
that's great.
Yeah, it's been good.
What do you think is the difference between her and the others? Or is it more about where you are?
That's a good question. I think some of it probably is where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. There's something very, this might be a weird answer, but like there's almost just, she just comes across very caring. And
I don't
she's
think
almost
that's
like
weird.
Well,
that's
I think
like a good thing to have in a therapist.
Well, the part of that I think was going to sound sort of weird is I was going to say that she almost has this like nurturing quality.
That's ideal.
Yeah.
I mean, for someone who is open to that, like I always gravitate toward therapists who have that quality.
Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that, but I guess, yeah, yeah, I don't know. I like her. She's good.
She sounds great. Incidentally, when I was watching Sopranos, I felt myself disliking Melfi at a lot of points.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, is that common?
I don't know, but I think I felt that way when I watched it.
But I couldn't figure out why, because I'm like, there's nothing she's doing that's wrong. So why am I, it felt like an unfair reaction.
Yeah.
But I don't know
sometimes,
why.
I think, you know, unfortunately, it's one of those things we all have sometimes where like someone just, you don't know why.
Yeah.
But yeah. You're just like, I'm just this person. I don't know.
Yeah. It was really weird because I'm like, she ostensibly is the voice of reason.
Right.
The sensible one in all this. And yet I found, I don't know, she rubbed me the wrong way in certain spots. And I felt weird about it. Okay. Ray Morgan says, what did you think of Ron Wood, R.I.P.?
First of all, I think he means Charlie
Watts. Maybe.
Yeah.
Wait, who's Ron Wood?
Ron Wood is also in the Rolling Stones, but he's a guitar player.
Okay. Yeah, I think he must mean Charlie Watts since he just died.
Yes. The timing of that was crazy because a friend of mine sent me a link to a trailer to this new documentary on Netflix that's about drummers.
Mm-hmm.
And in the trailer, they like focus on Charlie Watts. And like 1 minute later, I saw the news that he died. So that was kind of crazy.
That is weird.
But you know, I understand his place in history to totally honest, I'm not a big Rolling Stones guy, so I don't really have super strong feelings about it. I know it's not an exciting answer, but it's just the truth. I'm just being real.
I like it. You're keeping it 100.
Yeah, and you know, obviously it's sad to hear of anybody dying. I'm you know, that's a bummer. But yeah, on a personal level, yeah,
you're not gutted. Who are your favorite drummers?
I have a few. I weirdly don't. If we're as into music and for as long as I've played it, I don't nerd out on like a lot of specific things. Like some of it I do. But
bizarre
like,
albums,
right? but and like histories of certain bands and all that. But like as far as like getting like super into like specific drummers or like getting really into like gear and stuff, I just don't really do that much. But like if I'm forced to pick some drummers, it's usually this, again, not a very exciting answer because the common person doesn't know who this guy is, but there's a drummer named Damon Atkinson, that's the drummer of this band Braid, who's probably my favorite drummer, probably the person I've ripped off the most, intentionally or unintentionally. Maybe I should have said that the opposite way. And I do like Dave Grohl a lot. I feel like I don't know. That's the thing I don't understand. I feel like people love to like shit on him suddenly.
Oh, really? Is there a backlash that I'm unaware of?
Kind of. I think it's just like people like sick of him or something, or like, or just think they're too cool or something. But like, he's a super talented guy and like just seems like the nicest, coolest guy. I did meet him once, in like 1998, and he couldn't have been nicer. You know, it was not that big of an interaction, but it left an impression of like, wow, what a cool, nice guy. And then everything I've ever seen since then, like everything kind of proves that.
I have a Dave Grohl story. So I went to, and I had forgotten about, but I just remembered. I went to the VMAs in 1998 to cover it as a stringer for Rolling Stone. And at the red carpet, and this is where Rose McGowan wore the buttless, like just the string butt outfit. Right. So at the I was like perched kind of back at the red carpet, and people were showing up and like getting ready to walk the red carpet. And it was very hot that day. And I also remember seeing Carson Daly and Jennifer Love Hewitt, and she was not feeling well, but it was really hot. And so Dave Grohl and his girlfriend were spitting on each other to cool each other off. It was it was very punk rock. It was very weird, but I just remember them like almost like hawking loogies. It wasn't loogies though. I actually don't know. It could have been loogies, but just sort of be like having the most fun, just spitting on each other's skin. Ugh.
Yeah, that sounds disgusting. But hey, if that's your thing,
sure.
Knock yourself out.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yes.
Not related to this, but can I just circle back real quick to the question about mental health, and like I was talking about, how I've been trying to do things for. I just want to share a quick story. I was going to tell it on like the last show, and then I didn't think about it. So again, as I've been trying to just feel better, trying to go out, do more things, I went for a hike last week with a friend, our mutual friend, Katie Levine.
Oh.
So we go on this, she goes hiking all the time, so she knows tons of spots I don't know, and went to, I forget even what it was called. Doesn't matter. We go to this hiking trail I've never been on. We do the whole thing. And I remember it was one of those days last week where it was a lot colder than the rest of the weather has
days.
Been. And and it was also really gray that day, and it did rain a little bit that day. But it wasn't supposed to rain after the morning. And I just was like wearing a t-shirt and shorts because I was like, we're going on a hike. You're going to, even when it's like, you think you're going to be cold, then usually you end up sweating. And like the whole drive, Katie was like, are you sure you're going to be warm enough? Well, and I was like, I'll be fine. And I was mostly fine. And then, we did the whole thing. And as we are kind of approaching the end, we're getting close to the end of the hike, and it does start to rain. At first it's just kind of like a light mist, and then it starts getting a little bit heavier. We know we're close to the end, but we don't know how close. I'm like, okay, this sucks. And as we're kind of, again, approaching the end, we suddenly hear a voice yelling, help.
Oh my God.
Help me. And it sounded like a little kid at first. I was like, what? And so we kind of like get to the trail was winding, so we could see down to like where the trail continued. And we see this woman by herself. And we had seen her actually earlier. And she's just like screaming, help me. And so we're yelling back at her like, what's going on?
Right.
And she said there was a bear. And she, I guess, like saw it and like tried to like go up a tree or something to like
God.
avoid, and like she fell and like got all cut up and like lost her phone, and she's just like screaming and doesn't know what to do. And then we don't know it because we're trying to help her, but we're like, she's saying there's a bear right there.
Yeah.
Like, what do we do?
Right.
And Katie was like, had a satellite phone she was trying to use, and like that didn't even work. And I can say all this with a smile because the outcome was, I don't know. Obviously, I understand being terrified that she saw a bear, because I was kind of terrified and I didn't see the bear. And the thing was, like, as we're standing there trying to like, what do we do? We can hear cars.
Mm-hmm.
And I, at one point, like, look, and I see like through a tree, like I can see a car's tires. I'm like, wait, is the road right there? And like this lady could not have been closer to the end of the trail.
Mm-hmm.
And like there is literally a fire station right there.
Oh, wow.
And so Katie is yelling at, she's like, if you could go that way, she's like, you're right at the end. Like, again, looking back, it's almost comical how close to this she was.
Right. She was just frozen in fear.
Yeah. And so she's like, okay. And then she goes and gets talks to someone at the fire station. And Katie says to her, like, we used like send them like, cause you could drive, we saw a few trucks on this trail.
Send them back so you guys don't get eaten by a bear.
Yes, exactly. And then we can hear her talking.
Uh-huh.
And we just hear talking. Just, we're like, what's happening? Like, why is that? And then start yelling, like, hey, we're still up here. Like, what's going? And then like eventually she's just like, it's okay now. You can come down. The bear is over here now, or whatever. And the guy at the fire station had like gotten in his truck and like said that. So we come down. And then we see them. The guy there was like, he had gotten in the truck and like turned on the sirens and stuff. And he said that it didn't scare the bear away though. And he said he thinks it was a mama bear that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. So so we knew it was still kind of close, but we're there with the woman and the dude. And we're like, we just need to get to the car. Can we do that? And I'm thinking like he'll drive us to the car, even though it's barely anywhere. And he's like, his answer was, oh, you should be fine. He's like, just be quick and have your wits about you. You're like, what does that even mean? So,
that's not the answer I would be looking for.
Right. But then we did. And I have a picture. I haven't posted it, but I have a picture of us then going quickly to the car, and Katie's holding like pepper spray in one hand and a knife in the other, and we're just like walking quickly to the car.
Oh my God,
we got to the car safely and everything. But yeah,
that's so scary. Did you have dogs with you?
Yeah, she had. I left that part out. Yeah, she had her dog with us. So,
oh geez,
yeah,
that's was just what you get for trying to hike, Tony.
I know, like trying to do a thing, make myself feel better, and I was like, "Oh, is this the next shitty thing that happens?"
Right, because you're on guard now for the next. You know what is not bad, Tony, and is actually wonderful. The Embark Breed and Health Kit. This is a dog DNA kit, which I've done with Wendy. The aforementioned Jackie has done it with Chooch. It is just a cheek swab, so it's very easy to do. And they are really more thorough than I think any other dog DNA kit on the market. So you'll find out all the different breeds that make up your dog. Now with Wendy, we knew she was a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, and that's what we found out. But there's all sorts of other info you get as well, like great health info that you can tell your vet. They screen, there's other, genetic conditions that they screen for. And then that's something that's really good, predilection towards different things they might be carriers for. So that's good info to have. And then also you can be connected with relatives of your dog. Like Jackie just met one of Chooch's half siblings. I forget specifically who it was. And it turns out they both crossed their paws the same. And right. There's something else they do. It was so ridiculously cute. And I'm always excited when I find out, like, a new relative of Wendy's just popped up. And it's just, it's super great and really thorough. And I recommend it. Tony, if you haven't done this with Bentley, you should. You could be connected to Bentley's siblings.
I know. Initially, I was like, is there really a point? Because I know he's just a pure French bulldog.
Right.
But knowing some of the other things might be good to know. Yeah.
Do it. It's great. Learn your dog's inner secrets with Embark, the highest rated dog DNA test. Right now, Embark has an offer on their breed and health kit for our listeners. Go to embarkvet.com to get free shipping and save $50 off your Embark breed and health kit with promo code BESTFRIEND. Visit embarkvet.com and use promo code BESTFRIEND to save $50 today. Okay, let's get back to these questions. Here's one that might be hard. Brianne Andrade. Hi, Tony. Tell us a behind-the-scenes story, any story with Alison.
Behind the scenes with you?
Yeah, a behind-the-scenes story about me.
That didn't go the way I thought it was gonna. Well, this one time with some extreme anger, I asked her why she was unplugging the equipment.
Oh my God. I'd never seen you so angry. Well, I can remember. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no. Please go ahead. Because I was literally going to say, I'm trying to think of something. And so go ahead.
I can remember a story, which I don't know if we shared it at the time. Probably, actually. But when we were doing our first and only at the Hollywood. Was that at the Improv? This part, no, it was at the Comedy Store. When we were doing our Childish live show, I remember I was nervous about the recording of the podcast, even though the club had promised they would record it. I'm forgetting the details now. I don't remember exactly, but I just know I was nervous about it because I've been burned before and things like that. And you were like, and you were not our producer. But you were like, do you want me to come? And I'm like, oh my God, would you? And it was so nice. You just went over and you helped us out. And you were there to make sure everything recorded well. And I just felt really like we were in good hands.
Thank you. That's nice of you to say. Yeah, I was, that was in that moment of like, felt like momentum was good. And I was like out constantly recording things. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come do that. And yeah, if it happened now, no chance I would do it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I was happy to do it.
Angela D says, is he open to a new relationship? Is Bentley a good wingman? I would assume ladies can't resist that chunky boy Bentley.
Yeah, it's been a weird time because I was for a bit. I know I talked a little bit on the show before. Was seeing someone during lockdown. And that was going really well. And then it suddenly just ended. And I was a little, and still kind of am confused, but we have been able to remain friends. And that's good. Cause I feel like, I don't know, while the relationship ended, I feel like in a way, like, I feel like this is like one of those people that stay friends for a long time because like we went through some shit together.
Yeah.
Meeting during this time and all that. And, admittedly, I kind of struggled moving past that. And I tried dating a little bit since then. And it's just, first of all, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like I've kind of never really dated until now. So it's a very new thing to me, and it feels very overwhelming sometimes. And also it just, for a while I was like, I don't know if mentally I'm in the best place to even attempt this, even though that sounds nice and that could be obviously a good thing in the bigger picture. But like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know if this would be fair to someone else right now to deal with this. But yeah, I'm working on things, and I'm definitely open to it, but trying to figure that out.
Do you think staying friends with her is making it hard, or made it harder to get over the relationship?
Probably, yeah. I think for a while at least. It was kind of tricky, I think, but I think I'm getting to be in a much better place with that now, and I don't know, just sort of like accepting it a little bit better, I think, than I was initially.
Good.
Yeah.
I think any disappointment experienced during this pandemic is magnified because there's like a lack of stimulation. There's a lack of things going on, and like our lives are not full in the way that they were during normal times. So everything feels bigger. Yeah,
absolutely. And then that, and then combined with like we really did, like we were different in a lot of ways, but we got along great and like literally never even had an argument. So like I was very confusing to me, but can't make someone feel a certain way.
I hate that. Yeah. I hate that you can't.
I know.
I think that was a big realization as I got older, this thing of like, oh, it's not really about trying to coax someone into feeling a certain way or playing it a certain way so that they'll do this. It's really more just about when you don't have to do that anymore.
Yep.
And that feels really, it is really capricious. Okay. Megan Parkansky says, The Used was one of my favorite bands in high school. No, not even one of. The Used was my favorite band in high school. I even have a tattoo of their album art. I assume you've crossed paths with them. What were they like? Bert seemed like kind of an asshole when I met him once, but Quinn seemed sweet. Also, my girlfriend says she went to Warped Tour to see Motion City Soundtrack in LA circa 2006 to 2008, supposedly in the LA Galaxy's parking lot. No question there. Just wanted to tell you it was, quote, the best day of her young life. And she was bawling and, quote, got heat stroke for you. I live a block away from the Federal. See you on the 2nd.
Oh, nice. Well, that's very nice. But that's a good kind of a good band to bring up, because I do have two quick kind of funny stories. I honestly never really interacted with anybody from The Used. I think like definitely met at some point, but just kind of like quickly and in passing. So I can't really speak much to that. But it was either the first summer or the second summer that we ever did any Warped Tour dates. We were on one of the very small side stages, and, playing to a handful of people. Like, I think we were like the first band on that day too. And one of the people that was watching us, like, definitely like stood out and was just kind of like dancing and kind of going crazy while we were playing. And, come to find out, he then I think came and talked to our singer afterwards, and it turned out it was Bert from The Used.
Oh.
And at the time, none of us had heard of them either. And like fast forward like 6 months or a year, and they were pretty big. So yeah, that was my introduction to The Used, was him freaking out to us playing. And then the next time we crossed paths with them, we played in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we were playing 2 shows in one night, and we were going to open for The Used. And after that show, we were sharing gear at one show, and then our gear was at another show. So, cause we literally had to get in a car, Like, get off stage, get in the car, go directly to the other venue and play this other show where we were opening for Steve-O. Yes, Steve-O from Jackass. Yes.
Wow.
And on the way,
the way you said Steve-O, I was like, is there a band called, it took me a second, like there's a band called Steve-O.
Yes, because it makes no sense that we opened for
right,
Steve-O.
Oh, yeah.
And on the way to I think it was 2 separate cars we were riding in. I forget who was driving one, but I think it was our van, and then our manager was also in one of the cars. And our van blew out a tire in that drive from one venue to the other. And we're like, oh my God, we're not going to make it to this other show.
Yeah.
And then just like some random nice middle-aged man pulled over and like tried to help us. And we were telling him what was going on. And he's like, I'll get you over there. Come on. And he like gave us a ride. To
that's so nice.
So we could go open for Steve-O.
So Steve-O was doing what? Stand up?
No, I don't really know what you would call this.
A one-man show?
Yeah, and just doing a lot of gross stunts and stuff.
Okay.
Like, I feel like at one point he got somebody from the audience to come up and kick him in the balls. Things like that.
Yeah.
Real
highbrow.
Yeah.
Did you ever see those movies?
I love those movies, honestly. But it's a little hit or miss for me though at times. I don't like the super gross stuff. Mm-hmm. But I will actually, I just rewatched Jackass 2 like a couple of nights ago, actually. And I was giggling like an idiot. Yeah.
I never saw them. But I had heard sort of counterintuitively, like, oh, they're actually pretty good. But I can't, isn't there like if anything draws blood, I can't stand it. So, and I feel like they staple some skin.
Yeah, there's some, there's a lot of stuff that will make you
cringe.
Yeah. And just makes you like so anxious. And it's not so much, I can't even really think of that much blood necessarily. There definitely is, but like, it's more so like a lot of like poop and stuff.
Oh, I can handle poop, I think. Maybe I should give it a shot.
I don't know. It's really gross at times, but it will still kind of make you laugh in a weird way. It's like one of those things that you almost feel bad for laughing. You're like, why am I laughing at this? Yeah.
Now I don't know if I want. Maybe I do. Maybe I'll get it. Is there one that you'd recommend over the others?
It's been a while since I've seen all 3, but I think. I want to say that 2 is kind of the one that people seem to like the most. I think. I know. Right. I know. Tim Kalpakis loves Jackass 2.
I do think he's the funniest in the whole world. So
yeah, Tony,
thank you so much for letting me interview you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Suck it, June Diane. No, not. Really.
I mean, it really. I know that you were committed to being here at this time anyway, but you did totally save my butt. So thank you.
No problem. Anytime.
Listen, guys, if you like what you're hearing, please make sure you're subscribed or following in whatever app you listen in, and leave us a nice comment on Apple Podcasts. I looked and there's a whole flurry of new nice comments. So thank you to everyone. We'll be doing iTunes comments of the week soon. But make sure you get yours in there. Leave us a nice comment. Click 5 stars. Again, I'm on Patreon, patreon.com/Alison Rosen. If you sign up for an annual subscription, you get 2 months free. So 12 months for the price of 10. Also, I'm on Cameo. Have a book out. Tony, what about you?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at
Tony Thaxton.
And my podcast, Bizarre Albums, every Tuesday. And yes, this Thursday, if you're in the LA area, it was mentioned a minute ago, September 2nd, at the Federal in North Hollywood, playing with Don't Stop or We'll Die, and the opening band Townland, which is Matt Gorley's band. And also the Sloppy Boys are on that show as well. So guaranteed fun times. I'm very excited to play a real show. I guess I did a few weeks ago, but this one, I think tickets have already sold quite well for this and stuff. So, yeah, I'm very excited to play to an audience.
Nice. And the Don't Stop guys are coming back on the Thursday show pretty soon.
Yes. Yeah. We just confirmed that a little bit ago.
That's right.
Yes.
exciting.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tony.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And listeners, thank you for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen show? We had a good time, but now we gotta go.